Hello world. I've been on YouTube lately and I've been doing some research around the internet, checking out a whole bunch of different things. And I've learned a whole lot of shit. I want to start off with the military occupation here in the United States. Now, it sounds all great and grand that we're going to have our troops coming home and everything, except for the fact that they're not here just to come home. They're here to work. They're bringing battle battalions in to control civil unrest. The problem with this is that it's against the Constitution. Under no circumstances should they use the military against their own people. This is exactly what we went into Libya for, supposedly. And the problem is that nobody cares at all, apparently. There are a few people out there. I've subscribed to the Alex Jones feed here on YouTube. I've also been going through Infowars.com, and I have to subscribe to the White House, see what they have to say about stuff. Were you aware that on December 31st, New Year's Eve at 9 o'clock, the current president, Barack Obama, signed into law the NDAA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act. And in this National Defense Authorization Act that he signed into law, it allows the military and police to indefinitely, permanently, I know that's redundant, take over American citizens. Take them, confine them, detain them without due process, which means no lawyer, no Miranda rights, no phone call, nothing. And that's only if you're considered a terrorist, of course. But then we have to now figure out, what do they consider a terrorist? Oh, well, you're going to love this. If you believe that it's okay to own guns and that you should own guns, you're a terrorist. If you believe in liberty, you're a terrorist. If you believe that because you own your home that nobody should be able to just run up in it, police or otherwise, then you're a terrorist. That's personal property rights. If you think that what you own is yours and nobody should be able to take it, you're a terrorist. So if you believe any of these things and you voice any of these things, the military or the police can come and get you. They can detain you, and you don't get a lawyer, you don't get your phone call, you don't get none of that. That's the National Defense Authorization Act. The news didn't talk about it. None of the mainstream media talked about it. I'm talking about it. Alex Jones talks about it. There are a few people who talk about it. Matter of fact, even Louis Farrakhan talked about it. There are a lot of people who know about it, but people don't listen to them because they are radicals. Excuse me, I don't want nobody running up in my house, police, military, or otherwise. It's my house. I pay for it. Then you also have to take into account, what is the purpose of all of this? Why? And Obama did say that he wasn't going to do that on his watch. He wasn't going to detain Americans. But it's already laying the groundwork for the next president, who may or may not be a new president in November. And he'll be sworn in January. They can still do it. It's only a few months away. I mean, really? Think about it. It's laying the groundwork, just like the Patriot Act laid the groundwork for the NDAA. The Patriot Act ultimately was to remove the Fourth Amendment. The NDAA is to remove the First Amendment. And with all of these gun attacks, you got the situation in Colorado, you got the situation up in Wisconsin, and this is just in the past week. People dying, well, yeah, that may or may not. I personally believe that it did have something to do with our government, because they have a whole bunch of bills going through the House and the Senate in order to control guns. They say, well, hey, you don't need an M16 to go hunt ducks. You're right, but the Second Amendment isn't about hunting ducks. The Second Amendment is about one thing and one thing only: fighting against tyranny. It is the last resort to fight against tyranny, a tyrannical government, which is what our government is becoming. It is essentially that now. The president now has the ability, legally, because he signed it into law, to detain Americans, also to kill Americans on American soil. What, the police ain't good enough? You can't just arrest somebody go through the due process. That shit was put in line. It was put in place for a reason. Now you're going to bring the military over here? Oh, y'all think I'm playing. Y'all think I'm just on a bunch of bullshit. That's okay. Why don't you do a little research? Look up the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. Read through it. Tell me what you think. Oh, on the plus side, there are a few Americans who have woken up. They found out about the NDAA, and they sued Obama. There was one piece of the NDAA that the Supreme Court looked at and removed, and that was the part about killing Americans on American soil. But the rest of the NDAA is still in effect. Might want to know what they can do to you. Just saying, look it up. Don't take my word for it on anything, on this or any other situation at all. And about the military coming into the U.S., they was already patrolling in St. Louis, and they're coming back. Check it out on October 1st. They'll be back. And they also have it to where there's going to be military presence all over the United States, in all the major cities, all the minor cities. Towns like Waynesville, maybe not. Maybe not. But then again, Waynesville is right next to Fort Leonard Wood. I'm here in Springfield, Missouri. I'm only an hour and a half away from Fort Leonard Wood, one of the largest training bases in the United States now. But you don't think we're going to get a military presence? Not only that, I have personally seen an increase in military armored divisions running around. We got train tracks run all through Springfield. And all throughout Springfield, I've been seeing trains going through. I mean, we sat and waited on a train at a light for a good 15 minutes. The entire train had nothing but military tanks on it. I've been seeing Humvees on Interstate 44. They've been doing a lot of construction around here. What do you think how much easier is it now to control this I-60, I-65 intersection with all this construction? Look at how they did the construction. I'm sure they've probably produced all kinds of odd-ass reasons on why they were doing the construction, but shit was working for years. Now it's easier to control. And don't be confused and think that everything is going to be okay. They're doing it for your own protection, because they're not. They're doing it so they can control everything. If you control I-44, I-60, and I-65, you pretty much have all of Springfield wrapped up. So it would be nothing. And then look at the DUI checkpoints. They're random searches, right? 1, 2, 3 people go by, I'm going to stop him. Why don't you stop him for a real reason? You can't just stop somebody because you think for whatever reason you can stop them randomly. You can't do that. The Fourth Amendment protects against that. But on the other side, they still do it, and people comply. And what they're doing is they're trying to get you acclimated to complying with your liberty-stripping actions. Now, it'd be different if you were swerving all over the road. Yeah, okay, that's probable cause to pull you over. Okay, let's pull them over. You might have been drinking. Okay, we can go through that. But if you were just happened to be going through a DUI checkpoint, really? Really? Anyways, look up the National Defense Authorization Act. Look up the North American Union. I bet you haven't heard about that one either. The North American Union puts Canada, the United States, and Mexico essentially without borders. They're working, it's going to start with trade, to make trade a little bit easier. Really? Make trade easier? The North American Free Trade Agreement screwed the hell out of us. It sent more and more manufacturing businesses over to Mexico because they'll work for next to nothing. But look at it now. Now you have the North American Union. They're talking about removing the dollar bill, removing the United States dollar, and replacing it with what's called an Amero. If you have an opportunity, look that one up as well. The Amero, if they institute the Amero, they will say all your dollar bills, all your dollars, U.S. dollars, no longer are money because it's not connected to anything at all. It only has value because the government says it has value and you believe it has value. But it doesn't. If they say the Amero is now the new currency, everything you have wrapped up in US dollars means nothing. And they will then say, okay, if you want your money back, you have to switch over to this new Amero. But wait. Also, if you have like $100, you're only going to get $5 in Amero, because they can do that, because your dollars don't mean shit anyway. You see? That's how they're going to put it into circulation. They're not going to give you dollar for dollar. What the fuck would they do that for? They'll lose money. Trade you something for nothing. These are just things that you need to take into account. Also, the false flag attacks. They are now trying to push gun control. People don't need M16s. They don't need AK-47s. They don't need assault rifles. They don't need semi-automatics. They have a bill right now where they're basically going to make it to where all you can have are flintlock type weapons. Muzzle loaders. The shit that felons are allowed to have. That's it. Now, how the fuck are you supposed to go against the military with a muzzle loader? Really? The whole purpose of the Second Amendment and having guns is to fight the fucking military when they come. Because our founding fathers knew eventually you would have to fight the military. So subscribe to this here video, to my channel, and I'll keep you updated. I will let you know about the latest of what's going on in the world. Also, you might want to subscribe to Alex Jones' channel, because he's loaded with information. And if you doubt anything that I say or anything that you hear about, research it before you go and open your mouth. But I'm looking for comments. I'm looking for questions. I'm trying to get some likes. Subscribe. See what we're going with. Oh, and one other little side note. In case you were unaware, Facebook is now run by the CIA. Research that one. The CIA went to the Security Committee and said it was a dream come true. The creator and founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, is the director of the Facebook project.